Evening, everybody. IFBB Pro Dr. Mark the Shark Smith in my tranquil backyard, cigar in hand, discussing the topic of selecting a fitness coach that works best for you. It was a topic that was brought to me to discuss, so here I am discussing it. As somebody that is being coached or has a coach myself, I can tell you that it comes down to trust, respect, and communication. And you have to be 100% vested and willing to trust and listen to the individual that you work with. My coach, John, I have 100% confidence in him. He has got me to the level I am today. And hopefully I can match his. I mean, John is one of the best 212 pros in the world, and I respect the hell out of that guy, and I know that he's super intelligent, and we can communicate on a very intellectual level, and I understand his rationale and know that he's an expert in that field, and I will listen to him. And that's just the way it works best for us. And so it has to kind of work the same way with you. You need to have a very good relationship with your coach, because essentially this person is going to be giving you commands and telling you what to do, and you have to be willing to trust and understand and communicate with that person that this is going to work and this is what you want to do. If you find yourself second guessing, then it's not a good relationship. So when you're kind of sifting through, because let's be honest, there's hundreds of them out there, I would personally look at like their accolades, who they are, what they've done, athletes they worked for, and if they've done it themselves. I'm a very big proponent that a good coach should be either actively engaged in the sport themselves or have had a really good past in the sport. I'm not saying it to be like a Mr. Olympia, one of the top pros in the world, but that doesn't necessarily translate to good coaching. But they have to have tasted it and been in the shoes. You want someone that can empathize and understand what they're going to be putting you through, and has kind of that tried and true method of they've done it themselves type situation. At least that's my personal thought. Anyway, so that's a big factor. And then also, of course, you have to ask questions as far as like what their education background is. Is it something that they've been formally educated on and they've kind of worked it into our fitness industry? Because our industry is a mix of science and just kind of figuring shit out as you go. And so that's a big thing too. And so you want to make sure that you ask those questions, and you also, if they have to be willing to communicate with you the way that you want to. If you're somebody that needs a lot of reassurance, or if you're someone that needs a lot of guidance and a lot of like, you want your questions answered, you want a rationale of why they're telling you to do certain things or what is the purpose, then that's something you have to ask up front, and you have to kind of have that interview process. Because there's a lot of coaches out there that are dictator styles. They're just going to tell you what to do and don't want you to second guess them or question them. They'll even get visually angry about that situation and assume that you are just pretty much second guessing anything they're doing because you don't have the confidence and respect that they can do it. Which is, it's a fair response to people that don't understand that that's just the way that someone wants to communicate. But if that's the case, then you don't want to go down the path with somebody that's like that. So it comes down to a lot of mesh well. This is a relationship you are putting together, and so it has to make sense on both sides. Otherwise, it's going to be just really a bad conflict, and it's going to end badly. One of you are going to fire the other one in some way, shape, or form. And so make sure you go down there. I don't recommend, if asking your friends who to work with, I don't recommend that unless your friends are like me or another person that's really immersed in the sport, has a really good knowledge base of it. You want somebody that's going to gear you towards the goals that you want to work towards, and kind of understands where you're trying to get to. So it's a crapshoot. Some people have really good success. Some people bounce around and coaches a lot. It's just whatever meshes well in the mindset. I do say that no matter who you decide to work with, you should give them an adequate amount of time to work with them. I myself coach people, and I don't do it as a career, of course, because I have a whole other career, but I do it on the side here and there because I still want to be immersed into it and I still like doing it. But I will tell my clients firsthand that we're going to be learning your body probably the first 4 to 6 weeks, just to figure out like what type of diet and training style is going to work most conducive and best for you. And we're going to learn through this entire process as we go. That's just how it works. So look at track history, successes and failures. The amount of clientele is meaningless. It all comes down to the quality and how much time and effort they put into it. Cost is a factor too. Just because someone's super expensive does not mean that they are good. I've ran into a lot of celebrity trainers that, in my opinion, are trash, that charge immense amount of money and don't have any idea what they're really doing, or just using very outdated structures and materials, or just starving their clients to death. And that's not a way to do it, or over drugging them, which is also just as bad. But yeah, I, it's hard for me to just tell you what to do, but do your homework. Like, most of us wouldn't even buy a pair of pants without doing a whole bunch of research. Do the same thing. Take your time with it, and it's not just something that's a simple buy and it's done type situation. It's someone that has to get you to your goal sets, and so make sure that there's someone that's going to allocate the time, that can make it work, and wants to be a part of your journey. And you just kind of go from there, and you'll build a really great bond with these people, especially good ones. And they'll do everything they can to get you to your goal sets. You just have to follow and do what they tell you. I joke and say, like, if you do what I tell you, you'll get to what you want to. If you don't, then it's on you. But that's all I pretty much can tell you about that. But do your homework on it. Ask other people that are immersed into the sport, that are higher levels, and that can vouch for these people, or just tell you to stay away from them. There's a lot of swindlers and there's a lot of con men out there that pretend to be coaches and will just take your money and not really do much for you. All of us will say that. So be careful. And like I said, don't be ashamed that you're asking for help either. Like, it should be something you'd be kind of vetting out and figuring out, because this is a big decision. If this person's going to be probably working with you for quite some time, so don't take it lightly. And that's what I can tell you about that. And if I could give you the most default basic thing to do is, if you know me well, you know me, just ask. If it's someone local in Arizona, I know pretty much every coach or person that's in here that's immersed into our environment. So I'm happy to tell you if they're going to be good for you or not, or at least I could guide you in the right direction of who is going to be good for a good environment for you and set up for you. But that's my 2 cents on that. I don't know if it's helpful, but hopefully it is. But take your time and find the right person for you that makes sense and will get you to your goal set to be able to do it. And also, disclaimer here, men trainers and men coaches can work with women, okay? Don't just, if you're a woman trying to seek out a coach or fitness coach person, they don't have to be a woman to understand your physique and body. Some of the best coaches in the world for females are men. So it's okay. Like, just because I'm not a woman doesn't mean I don't understand how you're doing, how your body works through this fitness jersey, and vice versa. Just because you're a man doesn't mean that a fitness coach and trainer can't get you where you're not to if she's a woman. Like, just don't be gender biased, because it's not conducive. Look at the accolades and look at their track history and look at what they can do and go from there. All right? So that's me giving my 2 cents. Hopefully it's helpful. Don't know if it was, but ask if not. There.